truly a high price to pay. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my thoughts and impressions regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 93, Promise with Each Other. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode was a very tense episode. It was a very impactful episode. It hit right in the feels, and I won't lie to you guys, when I went back through to rewatch the episode to write my notes to record this review, I won't lie, going through it again and coming in here to record this and give you guys my thoughts on it, I'm still shedding a tear a little bit. It was that impactful for me. And I think that'll probably tell you guys where this review is going to go and where I'm going to rank it. But we'll talk about all of that soon enough. So at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins where we left off last week with Playmaker still refusing to attack Kusanagi. And as Revolver and Soulburner watch on, they feel for the guy, and they're torn on what he's going to do, because Soulburner is basically saying he can't attack Kusanagi. Flame is like, I knew this was going to happen, and Revolver is looking on at this and he's like, what are you going to do, Playmaker? Are you going to attack your best friend, or are you just going to lose for your best friend? And this kind of gets to the point of the entire episode, that at this point Playmaker is not just dueling Kusanagi, his best friend, because even Soulburner is forthcoming to Flame. He's like, these guys aren't just friends, they're family, they're more than that. And this has got to be breaking Playmaker's spirit to do this. And it's true, it is breaking his spirit to do this, and that's pretty much the premise of the whole episode. But back to the duel, Playmaker still is dead set determined he's not going to attack his best friend. He's not going to do that to Kusanagi. And in fact, he just stalls. He plays a spell card called Link Satellite, and it buys him 3 turns to basically prevent Kusanagi from attacking him. So since Kusanagi can't attack, he's deciding, okay, I'm going to finish you with effects since you won't let me attack. And Kusanagi brings out Link 3 Codebreaker Virus Berserker. And this is Kusangi's Link 3 monster. We didn't know he had one. I didn't know he had one. But this is his Link 3 monster, and it's got 2,800 attack points. And Kusanagi, with its effects, is able to knock Playmaker's life points down to only 600, and it's at this point that he begins to, from what on the surface appears to be toying with Playmaker, this kind of infuriates Lightning. Lightning arrives with Bowman, and Lightning is basically like, stop messing with him, just finish him off. And Kusangi's like, I practically won the duel, just let me have my fun. So Lightning kind of steps back, and Kusanagi brings up the promise to the duelist he had chosen as his partner. And the promise is where this episode really takes a turn, as Playmaker remembers back to the promise he made, because we learn that shortly before the battle with Lightning took place, or began, Kusanagi called Yusaku to the hot dog truck by himself. Ai's not with him, Soulburner's not with him, Flame's not with him. It's just those two. And at this point, at this moment, Kusanagi admits to Yusaku that Lightning is going to use his brother to blackmail him and force him to duel Playmaker. And Playmaker, or Yusaku at this point, is torn on this. He keeps trying to kid himself that Lightning would never stoop that low, but Kusanagi is basically saying, now you know that's not true. Lightning, of course, is going to do this. It's going to happen. And when the time comes, Playmaker, you cannot hesitate to defeat me. And Kusanagi goes on to tell Yusaku that while, yes, he's fighting for Jin, Playmaker, although he's a fugitive in Link VRAINS, he's a hero the world over. He is the symbol of hope, of freedom, of justice. And Playmaker has to do everything he can to defeat Lightning and serve justice to this rogue AI. And so this is the promise they make, is that when this time comes, Playmaker will win and he will serve ultimate justice onto Lightning. And after we get the flashback of this promise here, Playmaker is no longer in hesitation. He goes on to make the last move of the duel, and he brings out a new Decode Talker. Decode Talker Extended, it's his new ace monster, and at this point, he actually sacrifices 500 of his life points to allow Decode Talker Extended to overcome the attack point difference and to destroy Berserk. And when Berserk is destroyed, he's able to use Extended's effect to allow him to destroy all of his cards, Kusangi's cards on the field and also to attack again. And so Playmaker does win the duel, but at a heavy cost. Kusangi is lost at this point, and when we see Kusangi lose and he falls back, he's apologizing to Jin, and we get this huge montage of all these moments between Kusangi and Yusaku and Playmaker, and it's just this moment was so impactful when we watch Kusangi lose the duel and he falls back and he thanks Playmaker that he's going to leave the rest to him. And as this is going on, the Knights of Hanoi back in the real world, Baira, Genom, and Faust, they've actually almost broken through thanks to Kusangi's program. But it's at this point, it's too late. Kusangi's gone. He's just Data at this point as Playmaker comes running up to him, completely broken that he had just done that. And as Kusangi turns into Data, we actually see before Lightning has a chance to do anything with it, Ai absorbs Kusangi's Data. So much like how Flame is now carrying Windy, Ai is now carrying Kusangi. And both Kusangi and Playmaker and Ai and Soulburner, the whole team here, they're devastated as to what happened to Kusangi, but none more than Playmaker. But even though Ai is just as remorseful as what happened as he is, we even see Ai shed a tear as Playmaker falls to his knees, and Lightning actually comes up to Playmaker and says, "You couldn't keep your promise to your friend. You're a pathetic disgrace." And basically he starts taunting him with his mind game. And Playmaker is just sitting there. He's got his head down. His eyes are dark. We're not hearing anything out of him. But finally, once Lightning has taken his cheap shots at Playmaker, Playmaker turns to him and says, "You're wrong." And it's at this point that Playmaker tells Lightning, "Sorry to tell you this. We already knew this was going to happen. We already knew that this was the result, and you have already lost." And Lightning does not take it very well that he's been tricked by these humans as it clicks back to him that he got lied to and he got played. And Lightning is, and I know this will probably demonetize the video, Lightning is pissed about it. And he's angry about it. Bowman is just sitting there looking on at this as Playmaker finally just, after he gets the last laugh, so to speak, Playmaker collapses. He passes out right there in front of Lightning and Bowman. And Ai is completely worried about him at this point, and everybody is. Even Soulburner, he's unable to control his emotions. He yells out in anger that Lightning is used a cheap trick against him. Lightning took a low shot, and Lightning will pay for this. And that is essentially where the episode left off. Now, like I said, as far as the dueling aspect, this episode wasn't really focused on the duel. This episode was more focused on the friendship between Kusangi and Yusaku, or Playmaker. And this episode just, it hit right in the feels. You felt every impactful moment of this episode, and they chose some really good OST to play when they went through all these flashbacks and these memories, and you could really feel the tension there, and you can tell that Playmaker is broken by doing this. And I got to admit, although Playmaker's winning streak continues on, he has not been defeated yet, I got to admit, this actually, although Playmaker did win the duel in title, I think as a practical matter and for all intents and purposes, he lost this duel. So I think it was a very interesting way to, yes, Playmaker wins, but at the same time, Playmaker loses. It's kind of a dual result. I don't really know how to describe it fully, but yeah, that's essentially how I felt about this episode. So yeah, this episode hit real hard in the feels, really gave you a gut check. I'm still crying over the episode because it just was so impactful. As far as episodes go, I got to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. This episode was really great. It was really strong, and the friendship lives on, even though Kusangi was a high price to pay in this battle with Lightning, who I now completely despise. He disgusts me. But that's a topic for another day. So anyway, Lightning hate over. As always, everybody, in the comments section down below, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on Kusangi's final moments? What were your thoughts on the whole promise? What were your thoughts on just their friendship in general? And what's going to happen once this battle with lightning is over, just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.